Hi, and welcome to this question 5 business case part B. Now, there are 4 marks for this question you can see in the top box, and we have 4 question boxes. And first of all, note that in the question information box we have some bold information to refer us to the scenario and the additional information. So we're going to have a look at that in a moment. Also note we only have 4 answer statements, therefore it's 1 out of 4. And curiously, when you look through very quickly through the answer statements, it's going to say change, no change, move, amend, or something or other. So now we've got a document to edit. And when we have a look at the extract here under question 5, we can see that we have this document below us with some information in it. So this is the draft business case which we're going to use. Now note up here also says true statements. So remember, once again, we cannot change what is there from a point of what it's already written. What we are able to do, of course, is either move it around or remove it altogether. If it's either in the wrong spot, in the wrong box, or in the wrong document. And as you notice, it was all about move, change, or whatever. So, do one at a time. There are 8 statements in here, and probably not going to look at all the statements in the question, so just do which ones you're expected to look at. So, firstly, question 1 to section A, and it's saying no change, move, or amend. So let's kind of look and see what's in question 1. So, strategic objectives: 2 training rooms furnished in corporate colours, residential accommodation for 15 people. Right. So, as much as that is a strategic objective, remember this is supposed to be a business case, so it really should not be in there. This is more about the design of the solution, which goes in the blueprint, right? So the approach here is look at the part we're supposed to review, in this case section A. Look at the statement or statements and decide whether they're right or wrong, or what you should be doing with them. And then you go back and look at the question statement and the answer statements and in that question box and see which one looks very close to the rationale you came up. Now the reason for this is, of course, that when you're in a program, for instance, you will get with these documents. You won't have the answers, of course, not like an exam paper type answer. You'll have to go through the document with a group of people or by yourself to review it to make sure it's got the right information in it. And then take some corrective action, whatever that happens to be. So this is what you're going to do now. Look at section A, decide, well, actually, that's supposed to be in the blueprint, not in a business case. The business case is about financial information and what the business needs, benefits, etc., and what we expect to get out of this. So do that, and then go and look at the answer statements and see which ones fit. So as far as we're concerned, that should be moving into the blueprint. So let's have a look at the statements here. Well, first of all, no change will be decided there was something wrong with it, so that's not an answer. We can't amend it because it's already true unless it means adding something to it, which it does say to include expected reduction, right, in residential costs. But that's not the answer either. So the first thing, look at the next 2. Move the entry 1 to the blueprint because the blueprint describes the infrastructure required for the desired solution, which is true. Or move it because the blueprint describes the staffing levels required. Well, that's not what the question's about in this particular case. This one is looking at the infrastructure required. So the answer there is B. Right, let's have a look at the next one, number 2. So let's go and look back at section B. So section B's got estimated costs. Right. So training centre is going to cost $10,000 per month. Well, that's about right. That should stay there. Any redundancy costs for the staff actually fully made redundant. Well, that means that should stay there as well, by my mind. Actually, let's have a look at the next one. Staff relocation costs to be agreed, and cost for IT equipment for the program office. All these look to me like they should stay. Right. So let's go and look at the answer statements and see what we've got. First one says no change entry 2 because it is a business change transition costs. Well, that is about right, because it is a cost of the transition of the temporary training centre. We need 10,000 per month for that in place, and that will cause an impact on the business. So no change in Q2 because the program management costs should be included in the business case. But that's not a program cost anyway, so the statement itself, program management cost, is not true. This is nothing to do with the program management. This is to do with the transformational change itself and the temporary cost. So that's a dud statement. Delete entry 3 because it's a corporate overhead, right? But that isn't, because this is actually any redundancy costs average may be redundant. So we need to incorporate that too, because it has an impact on the overall benefits, etc., and therefore should be in the benefits, in the business case. And the last statement says delete entry 3 because redundancy costs should be included in the relevant benefits profile. Well, that's not true either. They need to be realization benefits in the profile to relate it, but not when these are business costs. So redundancy costs are part of the business cost, like number 2 we saw here, training center costs. These are part of running the system, right? And the cost of the IT equipment, that's not included. We're not even asked to look at that one, so forget about that one, right? So the answer there is A. In this case, A for no change because the business transformational costs should be included, which is true. So now we're going to look at sort of entry in section B. Right, so entry section B. So 4 we looked at costs to be agreed. That should be finalised at some point. And cost for IT equipment for the program office. That ought to be in there as well. So let's have a look into what it says here. Right. So delete entry 4 because it is not yet agreed. Well, that's irrelevant. We still need to keep it in there, actually, even if it's not agreed there, because we need to note whether it's going to be agreed or not in the first place. And sometime it will have to be updated later in the business case. So that's not true. No change to entry 4 because project costs should be included in the business case. So remember what we said about project costs. They do need to be included here because overall they're part of the overall program. So that, once we've got costs there, we need to understand how they all build up and relate to the whole program. So it says delete entry 5 because this is a program management costs. Well, it does need to be in there, right? I know we set up here in question 2 program management costs to be included. They are, and that's what we said. Agreed at that one there. But the one we were talking about wasn't a program management cost. This one is. Right, so that does need to be there. So that statement's false, not true. No change to entry 5 because program management costs will be sourced from the resource management plan. Right. Well, the resource management plan is about management. Is about information. For the project management costs. Right. Not that will be sourced from there. So that's not true either. So that has to be a false statement. So the answer here is B, no change, because the business costs should be included. Sorry, the project cost should be included in the business case. Beg your pardon there. Right. So question 4. So question 4, we've got no and yes. So this is one of these questions where let's go look at the statement and decide whether it's no or yes, and then work out from there whichever one we've got left, also provide a rationale behind it. So it says that the cost of measuring the increase in proportion of staff receiving training have been included in the costs for the business case. Well, this is very true. We do need to trap the information, and therefore the cost of measuring the increase in proportion of staff, because this has a reflection on the business case and on the overall benefits, right? So therefore, if we decide it's yes and why, therefore A and B are no longer included in our answer. So look at C. C, yes, because the cost of living enabling outputs are described as project costs. Well, as much as they are do that, they've got nothing to do with the realisation costs, for benefits realisation costs. So they're not interested in having those in the business case, which is about benefits, right? And that's what these are. This is about measuring the cost of proportion, because that's a knock on the benefits. So yes, because costs relating to achieving your benefits should be including in the business case. Well, that's exactly what we said earlier anyway. And that's what these are. The cost of measuring the increase in the proportion of staff retraining. So remember, the whole point was to get more staff trained and wanting to be trained, and the cost of them doing that, or at least in this case, measuring that increase, in other words, going down to surveys and looking at how staff are now before we make the change and afterwards, that needs to be included in the business case as well. This is part of the overall program change costs. So that should be there too. So the answer here is D. So once again, review through the business case theme if you're not too sure. Look at what should be in the business case document, and look at that in the appendix on governance documents, in this case the business case, to reflect what should be in there. Okay. But remember, the approach here is look at the statements we're going to be checking out of first, and which section, go and check the section, decide what should be or not should be there, and then go back and review the question statements and see which one in the answer box comes up close to where you originally thought, and therefore pick that one. Any still for any further concerns, and obviously, as always, contact your tutor through the portal on the platform to request further help and clarification. Thank you.